I really don't do much for my bench warming up. I just grab a band, do like 10, 12 reps, cross pec press. Sometimes I'll get like in an actual bench position. It's really just to kind of get some blood flow, similar to the squats and deadlifts with the goblet squat warm up, Kilo V goblet squat. You know, it's just to get the tricep and the chest just moving. I used to do push-ups, but it just wasn't enough resistance. Like truthfully, I'm not trying to flex. Like I could in 2021, I flew out to LA for Bradley Martin. I was a sponsored athlete for Raw Gear, and they had a competition at one of these events, and it was 60 seconds, as many push-ups as you could get, like legit push-ups, right? Granted, it's kind of cheating because I was going up against a bunch of your average gym influencers, you know, all these like bodybuilders, not really bodybuilders, don't really do shows or anything like that, and they're all just kind of like look aesthetic because of the lighting. No disrespect, but that's just the truth. And bro, I think I repped out like 130 push-ups in 60 seconds, and that was in 2021. So for me to like actually, it's like doing air squats. Like for me to really get warm from an air squat, it's not really gonna do it. I haven't filmed in a gym in a while. Haven't filmed in War Room especially in a while. So hopefully all of this goes well. And my shirt's kind of sliding, so I might use a bench mat. Which wouldn't really be an issue in a meet, you know, the whole torso sliding thing. Yeah, and I did put a bench mat down, which I never use, but for whatever reason, I mean, these benches are a little slippery, but the fabric, but this shirt, for whatever reason, was definitely sliding a bit. And in a meet, I wouldn't have that issue just because of the material of the bench plus the singlet and the comp shirt. I never really slip, plus when you add chalk into it, it's fine. But for whatever reason, we're kind of slipping a little bit, so I figure better be safe than sorry.
Turn it to my friends, you should see how people treat you on that.
Yeah, straight to a red.
Do you like your jumps to be equal through?
I don't care. I just, if I can help it, have the jumps get less as they go. Not, you know.
So I'm saying, if you took this 420 something, and then for 52, that's two like relatively similar jumps, two like 44-pound jumps.
Yeah.
452 to 462, 464, whatever the kilos is.
Yeah.
And then that it would be a smaller jump to the second attempt.
Okay. So this, then we throw on a green,
Like throw on a green, yeah. That's
and then a blue,
and then a blue,
and then top.
and then top.
You know what I could taste right now? I could taste the blood of my enemies. So it looks like we're gonna have 2 more warm-ups and then top. I've never opened at 464. So it'd be really cool for this to move well. And then we open at 464 at the meet, maybe a little lighter, we'll see. But we want to be aggressive on bench because historically, you know, I'll lose lifts for reasons that even to this day I still don't really know. You know, like the second Sheffield, we lost our third bench. I genuinely have no idea what it was. Some people said it was elbow death, some people said it was soft elbows. I really have no idea. So, yeah. So to eliminate that, or the risks, to diminish the risks or decrease the risks of losing lifts and having that impact the end game, you got to be more aggressive. That's the solution. In addition to becoming a better powerlifter in terms of execution, that's a given. It's always what you want to do. Even the best lifters, most consistent lifters in the world have to work on that, you know? So, and I truly do believe consistency comes with time. You just need more and more and more and more reps, especially in those high pressure situations, in that environment, on those benches, or in that rack, you know, whatever. You need more practice there in order to become more consistent and start to notice all the little things that you'd want to be focusing on when it comes to executing perfectly. It takes time, dude. It takes time. That's why all the most consistent lifters, like the really, really good lifters, who are the best in the world and also have competition, they've been in it for, on average, at least 8 years. And I stand by that. I don't know that for sure, but I'm gonna stand by that. Are there lifters who are the best in the world that have been doing it, you know, for less amount of time, that are more consistent? Yeah, absolutely. But you know, how easy is it to be consistent when you don't have to hit your absolute fucking top end every single competition to win? You know what I mean? It's like, I could be perfect with 405, of course, you know what I mean? But when it's 505, it's a little bit different, so. Still got a minute. Gotta be respectful to the gym. Using the chalkboard. Oh. Decent. Not great. Like, speed was there, but I felt like a little
drift on the right arm, right?
Yeah.
Remember, set up a little further back so you have less carry.
Damn. Right there.
Yeah. It came off the chest. It came off the chest nice, and then you flared a little earlier than you normally do there.
My plan is to take another single, but at 222 and a half, which would be my comp best, I believe. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get this just because of that previous attempt, but that previous attempt, I think we had the strength for it. We hit a wall, so I'll show you guys the side angle, my phone. I never do this on my bench, but what happened was I was here, and then when I sunk super, super low, and you can see when I went to pop up, it literally came this way. So you see the bar not go pop up and go forwards, you see it pop up and go this way, which made me flare out my elbows, and from here I have no power whatsoever. I need to be like here, right? And look at where that is. So if that bar comes up here, nothing. But if it stays here, in line with all that tissue, we're good. And so you'll see on the side angle, it just, yeah, it is what it is though. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, I don't mind, because if nothing else, that gives me something to be aware of when I try and take this in comp. So, yeah, like I'm not really that concerned. You know, like better for that to happen here than in competition in terms of like that positioning issue. This is also the first time I've ever touched over 501. So this would have been like a 6-pound PR. So this is 507, and it's the first time I've ever had it in my hands. So yeah, but yeah, we'll be good, guys. We'll be good. All right, I'm gonna rest up and then we'll take the signal.
Like I said, and it was smooth. It wasn't like you hit a sticking point.
Yeah.
So you gotta figure you hit that after 507, taxing week, no taper.
Yeah.
I would say you're ahead.
We
of
could
where
keep
you
making
were for
excuses.
anything
We could
else.
keep making excuses for me. It's fine.
No
I'm
excuse. But I mean,
not
unfortunately,
really.
we don't train in a bubble, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're hitting what you hit at NAPF, tapered, you know, hype from the meat with a full block to go, and you just failed 507 before that. I would say you're definitely ahead.
Yeah.
You
See
can
stronger
take-
triceps.
I think if you take that 507 at the end of next block, that'll really,
Yeah.
501 to 507 at the end of the next block for a single would be nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right, bro.
All right, Sean.
See, I would argue that I think I needed some more time warming up and just more practice, spend more time in the zone, because 507, it could have been a strength issue for sure, but positioning was the real issue. I mean, it's so obvious from the side. I'll show it to you. And that tells me that if I was just more in control and more patient, it'd be fine. If I was just more patient, calming down, you know? Not as, see that aggression, a lot of times, so fear is always at the core. And fear shows itself in different ways. Anger, anxiety, right? Sometimes just pure cynicism, constantly being negative, self-doubt, you know, those are all just symptoms. The disease itself is fear. That's where it all stems from. And so my fear, it may not feel like I'm afraid, but that's where it's coming from, man. That's the truth. So my fear causes me to be more anxious and aggressive, right? And quick to act. The problem with that is that will take you away from your baseline. And if you're not on baseline, something's got to give, right? Something has to compensate for that. And usually, especially in powerlifting, it's going to be your positioning, right? Like you see it all the time on squats. Somebody gets super amped up, just way too amped up, way too aggressive, way too attack. They're all aggressive. They don't take their time. They're stiff, bar shaking. They're causing a lot of whip because they're fighting the motion of the bar instead of being one with the bar. And then they go down, they cut depth. I mean, how do I know all this? Because I'm that athlete. Like I've been there. You know what I mean? And I've worked over the years to correct that. That's why I truly believe the mental is such a big piece of it. So I know I was not mentally prepared for my top set, and that's the truth. What's great is it embarrassing and almost, you know, shameful to admit that? It can be embarrassing, but it is the truth. And I'll tell you what, the faster you can hold yourself accountable and admit the truth, at least to yourself, the faster you can do something about it. It does not help to brush on the rug and pretend like it didn't exist, it didn't happen. So I may say, yeah, it's a technique issue, it's a positioning issue. Really, it's a fear issue. Because I have no problem maintaining good positioning and tech on this. Didn't have much of an issue on any of my warm-ups, you guys saw it. And yet when I took 507, something happened. Was the weight just so heavy that it forced my body out of position? No. Fear. And That's the truth. So we fix the fear, everything else gets fixed. And you can never eliminate fear. Remember, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the video I talked about the 4 recovery habits in it, I talk about the mind, and then in that section I talk about visualization and the importance of visualization, not just to manifest what you want, but and rehearse what you want to happen, but it's more so to replace negative thought patterns with something, because it's very difficult to eliminate negative thought patterns. So I can never eliminate fear. I can't, but I can replace it with something. You understand? And what I can replace it with is peace. That's why faith is so important, because the Lord promises peace. The Lord can be your peace. He can give you peace. But now we know, you know? So I'm not upset about it. You know what I mean? It is what it is, bro. What, are you gonna fucking get upset because you tried? Listen, man. When you sign that dotted line, that's part of it. There was never a guarantee of success. Made an attempt, couldn't do it. We will make another attempt. It's like it never even happened. And now we know. Okay, slow down, focus, lock in, breathe. Bring back the calm. You can be aggressive, but just calm, peaceful. That's all. Because peace, when you carry peace, that means you're confident. So if I'm truly confident in the lift, I'm not like, a fucking animal. No, I'm at peace because I'm confident, right? If I'm afraid, that's all of a sudden I'm like a fucking wild dog. When do dogs bark the loudest and get the nastiest? When they're threatened.
The ashes fall, the wine spills. The world stops, drops and rolls. It's judgment day off I drill. Yeah. I pour out my heart, have a drink. They say drunk, never lie, never lie. My conscience is a big, sweet.
One more set of 4. Oi. All right. It's time to pause deadlift. Which kind of sucks because of how beat my body is after primary deadlifts and primary squats Wednesday and Friday. But it must get done. All right. Obviously only 2 reds, but probably jump to 4 or maybe even just the tops. I'm already pretty warm because of bench. Obviously my lower body isn't, but the weight's pretty light. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. God dang.
He doesn't even care.
God dang. Well, I'm recording. So I gotta be PG-13. You look beautiful though. Anyway. Maybe that's why I didn't get 507, because she hasn't broken up with me yet. Kidding. Yeah, anyway, so my point is we don't want to push this too hard. We just want to sustain the stimulus. So what should we go? 242, 245. Last week was 247 and a half. I think we can get over 245. I mean, RP 3 to 4, I'll make it move like an RP 3 to 4. I'll make it feel like an RP 3 to 4. In order for me to make a weight move and feel better than it normally would, I have to get myself to a place where I normally wouldn't be. So I have to be more amped up, more locked in, more focused, more right? That taps into your central nervous system. So this may not be super scientifically accurate, but this is how I see it. If I want to recruit more like motor neurons and get my whole body firing, like fight or flight, like true fight or flight, like your kids are stuck under a truck, fight or flight, right? I have to get my CNS to that level. For me to get it to that level too often is just dumb. Like that's just, it's not sustainable and you will absolutely destroy yourself. So you gotta be very careful about when you choose to flip the switch. So 507, I tried to get to that state. For the back down 491, I didn't really need to be in that state, truthfully. So I didn't sniff ammonia, just didn't need to go there. With this, same thing. What's the point of me getting to that level? Could I make 600 pounds move like RP 3 to 4, pause triple? Yes, absolutely. But is that necessary, And is that smart? No, because the time that I really need to do that, and I should be saving that for, is primary. Not even just primary, but heavy primary, Everything else should just be chill, should be casual, should be routine. Like brushing your teeth. This is why you get Iron Claw. This is the real reason. Cool. Yeah, that was pretty easy, not gonna lie. So fine. We'll do our next set with 485. Dude, you're more than welcome to do whatever you gotta do. Yeah, it's not that serious, yeah. I appreciate you you waiting though. Yeah, don't ever let me get in the way of your stuff. Look at that, bro. No reapplication whatsoever. It's just easy. Although I'm not gonna lie to you. If I was going up in weight, taking like a real top set, or I was gonna meet, I am going to re-chalk, period. But I never re-chalk for my back downs. Just never find that I have to. So, yeah. But it's nice, like there's enough chalk for it to work, but also too, even if there isn't, it's a nice opportunity to just work the grip strength just a little bit more than usual. Yeah. So I got one more set here, leg press, and then some other accessories. Okay. Time for accessories. Yeah, so on leg press recently what I've been doing is get up to a weight that's pretty heavy and treat that as like my first working set. So it'd be like a pretty heavy, kind of hard, well, it's really just a low that I look for. But yeah, kind of hard set of like 10, right? And then my second working set, I go up and I try and nail it so that if I were to be going up a plate on each side, that would be enough. So that by my third set, I'll have gone up by 2 plates on each side, and it'll be a really true hard set of 10 or 12, or heavy set of 10 to 12. Just gonna adjust this. Boom. So what I just did is moved the panel onto 3 instead of it being on 2 or 1. So this is a Prime machine, a Prime leg press. Prime is just the name of the company. And Prime is famous for having machines in which you can adjust where the most resistance will be during the movement. So you can either have it be beginning, middle, end, essentially. So I like to load the position in which I'm most stretched. So for example, on a leg press, that's gonna be when my knees are in complete flexion, ankle, like all of this is stacked here. as opposed to being here and fully extended, right? The reason why is because when I'm in a conventional deadlift or in a squat, this position tends to be the hardest, right? And it feels the heaviest, and so I like to load this position more than I were to load this, or place a bigger emphasis on this position. Plus, also too, we know from literature that loading the stretch is super beneficial for strength and hypertrophy. So that's exactly what I'm doing. All right, cool. Pretty easy, not too bad. If you're wondering why I don't go super deep, I really can't, to be honest with you. If I go too much deeper, my lower back will start to round and my butt will come up off the pad, and that just completely compresses my lumbar spine. It's just terrible, so not worth it. Plus, I do a lot of other movements where I'm reaching a pretty good depth and having a really nice long range of motion. So I don't necessarily need to do that for this. And years ago, when we started including the leg press after the pause deadlifts, we were doing it to aid the deadlift. And the deadlift is a very short range of motion for my legs, really. So we're trying to mimic that position, but just overload that position. And so all of that to say, there's not really a need for me to use the leg press to get like a super deep stretch. As I do get a little bit warmer, it's easier for me to go deeper. Obviously, if I change my foot position, I can go deeper. But yeah, like you'll see the next set, I'll probably go a little bit deeper, but there's just no real need for it, if that makes sense. Okay, so this will be the second set. These are MyProtein, by the way. If you kind of like these, definitely check them out on the MyProtein site, because my code, BYS, burn your ships, or ADIN10, ADIN10, or no, not 10, just ADIN, ADIN. They gave me 2 codes. My codes work for the apparel in addition to the supplements. So, which is kind of cool. So you can get your typical gym wear, pretty good stuff, for very cheap, 40 to 50% off. So pretty much all my socks, compressions, and joggers, sometimes even some of the hoodies, they all pretty much come from, any oversized tees, they all come from MyProtein for the most part, because it's just so much cheaper. And I train in it, I beat the shit out of it. I mean, I literally beat the shit out of these. So yeah, if you like them and you want to support me and support the channel, that would mean a lot to me if you use code BYS. Like I said, you'll get about 40 to 50% off. Yeah, all right, let's hit the next step. Now, historically, I used to have a very narrow foot, Historically, I used to have a very narrow feet forward or feet straight foot position on here, because I wanted to focus on the quad. Like I said, we were using this a lot for deadlifts, but now recently kind of opened up just a little bit because I want to get a little bit more adductor and a little bit of a deeper position, because bro, when I'm here, it's like this much range of motion. Whereas when I'm here, I can get it just a little bit deeper. But either way, we are staying, especially on this particular machine, we have to stay a little bit lower. If I go too high, it's just a lot of hamstring and glute and not a ton of quad. Even in this position, I'll get a ton of quad because it's hard for me to like feel it as I fully extend. I'm a short guy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, see, that was easy. Now I might load up 2 plates on each side for the last one to bring it to 12 on each side. Now, if I was training for hypertrophy, I would perform these way different, or I'd just simply perform more volume. Maybe slow it down, pause in the stretch, that whole thing. But mind you, we're doing this to maintain some degree of volume, training volume, because we're not getting it from our main movements. B, overload. We just want to handle hundreds, if not thousands of pounds, or let's say 1,000 pounds on our legs. We want to feel that. So without, compressing the spine and killing ourselves to do it. So this is a great machine to do that. So that's the second reason why we do it. And then the third, depending on where we are in the phase, is to build some muscle. So because the primary purpose is the overload and to just accumulate more training volume for the lower body, you know, we don't need to focus on completely destroying the muscle. Whereas there may be a time when I would want to focus on that and not give too much of a shit about being too beat up or too sore or whatever for my primaries and stuff. In which case, I would focus way more on destroying the muscle tissue. I'll slow it down, pause, you know, all that good stuff. Sign it off. Bro, these things look like they're gonna fucking fly off right now. Okay, so yeah, 12 reps, 12 plates. And now we're done with leg press. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I really don't love this right now. You know what, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm gonna take this for another set. I really don't like this. Now, the reason why I'm turning towards the working arm is to help accentuate the stretch. There are times when I'll do the opposite. Ow. This fucking thing is hitting my shoulder too goddamn wide. It actually pisses me off. Does anybody else get pissed off when they like stub their toe or machines bump into them like this? Like, I literally want to rip someone's head off right now. It's just so annoying. It also pisses me off that I'm not, oh my God. I literally fucking, if this thing could fight, holy shit. Oh, that's so much better. Still light, but at least here, like, I can feel the stretch, I can control the path. Ooh, nice and close to the rib cage. Boom. And then we are gonna do a row, and then tricep, superset with the dumbbell lateral raise, call it a day. Hopefully you guys can hear me, the music's pretty loud. But yeah, long session. But dude, like for me, like I said, this is like a job for me, and I care so much about this that yeah, it takes as long as it takes. There's no limit on that. Now, I don't let myself get lazy and, you know, just take forever for the fuck of it. Like, you know, if it takes a while because we're working and we're being diligent, fine. But if it takes a while because we're being lazy, that's different. But yeah, man, I mean, like when I train, it's really important that I only think about my training. I'm only focused on my training. I'm not focused on anything else. And when I do that, it allows me to not feel rushed, feel the pressure of anything else. It allows me to just lock in, just be focused and enjoy even my time here, you know? Things become a chore when you have other responsibilities that take precedence over that one thing. This is the most important thing right now, especially when we're here. When we are here, this is the most important thing. That's the mindset. You know, no different than when I'm sitting down to do work, that is the most important thing. When I am sitting to spend time with my girlfriend, we're sitting on the couch, whatever, and it's just one-on-one time, that is the most important thing in that moment. You gotta be in the present, you know? All right, last set, beef it up to 70. Still super light, honestly, but. Now, one thing too, I like to do, is I don't want to pull back here, right? I kind of want to like scoop it down, right? Just like that, and let the lat do all that. So it almost creates this like arc, boom, as opposed to being this, because this will be more rear delt. The lat here, my hand and my arm is just a pulley, it's just a hook, right? Boom, rope attaches here, and this is what's pulling it. Boom. So if you feel your rear delt work a lot, you're probably pulling too high. Oh. Truthfully, I don't even count the reps. I just do it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 3 is the end range. Yeah, 3 is always the end range, I think. Perfect. Yeah, pretty light. But we're just looking for a nice, smooth path, nice stretch. Now again, keep in mind, I'm gonna work more lat, especially lower lat here, pulling with my elbows close to the ribcage, positions lower, or my hand positions lower. I still will get a lot of trap as well. Ooh, whereas if I grip out here, go wider, I'm gonna get a lot more rear delt and trap upper back, you know? Sometimes it's nice to finish with that. I really do enjoy doing chest supported stuff because A, makes it a more honest movement. B, helps me get a lot more of a stretch in the muscle. C, more stability, so thus I can be a little bit stronger, use more weight, all that. And D, less taxing on my overall body. There's nothing I need to do to stabilize. You know, it's not might be a compound movement, but it's not like a barbell row, you know? So it's not as systemically fatiguing. One more set. One more set, and then we got triceps and dumbbell lateral, and we're done. You find the most success when the highs are high, you're here, and the lows are low, you're here. Just at peace, you know? Because you can't allow yourself to be pulled in every direction. It just will never work. You know, you have to have the discipline, especially the emotional discipline, to keep yourself grounded, humble, and rooted when everything's going amazing. Thank you. And you have to have the emotional fortitude, the mental fortitude, spiritual fortitude to trust that when the lows are low, it's just a moment in time, and this too shall pass. As long as you have fucking breath in your lungs, you can go another day, and you can bear your cross, you know? If not for you, then for others. All right, last set. Okay. I have one last superset and I'm done. Let's create a little bit more like a push down effect. Is he facing you guys now? I'm really not counting any reps. One more set. Okay, we gotta put these back. 21 minutes on the clock. We are currently already like 5 minutes in, maybe a little less, 4 minutes or so. So we've got 17 left, and not too crazy. Most days it's 41 minutes. Some days it's 21 minutes, and only one day of the week it's 0. If I were cutting or needed to be more aggressive about my calories each day, because obviously I have to make weight for nationals, I would make sure that I'm hitting 41 minutes almost every training session. But again, on days where I do train my lower body or push my lower body, I try not to do a full 41. So today I had heavier leg press and pause deadlifts. And of course we had a really, intense squat session yesterday. So it doesn't really make sense for me to kill myself with a full 41 because tomorrow, Sunday, is an off day. But I hit a full 41 minutes of cardio religiously. And sometimes I'll even add in an extra 20. So to hit a little over an hour. So I just don't see the need to do a full 41. So we got 21 today. I definitely want to talk a little bit about this session, but first I have to give you guys some context in terms of my bench, so this way you can appreciate what today means. So historically, from 2021 to 2024, I had almost 0 bench progress. Rep PRs, 1RMs, execution, like all of it. Finally, I decided this ain't gonna fucking fly anymore. We can't have people benching 550 plus at my weight or lighter, and I'm stuck here. It just doesn't make sense. So finally, going into NAPFs, tried a bunch of shit and really hammered home this idea that there is no way I'm walking out of this meet without a bench PR. So we ended up hitting a comp PR. We hit 222.5, so 491 with more in the tank, which is great. And that's with the Watercut international level judging, pretty long flight, all of that. So pretty good. So I've been building off of that, and mind you, I've never really hit more than 220 or 220.5, 221 kilos in training. So in previous preps, usually it's like the last block of the meet, so maybe a week 3 going into the meet, or it'd be second to last block, week 4, I would hit like 474, 478, 484 maybe. But that was iffy. Now, fast forward to today, are we light years ahead of that? No, not necessarily. But we are definitely doing way better and seeing more progress. We hit a double PR last block, 468 for 2. And today, although we failed the 507, the fact that we were able to hit the 491, which was truthfully the originally planned attempt that John wanted me to take for today, the fact that we had the strength to hit it, even if the pause is questionable, whatever, I'm sinking. So it's, the pause is just a matter of just like staying there for a little bit longer. And even then, I think the pause, there was a decent, somewhat, half pause maybe. Regardless, the fact that we were able to do that, I've never done that before. I've never been able to go 464, and then take 2 attempts essentially heavier than that. I've never done that. Not even in a meet, really. So the fact that we were able to take what would be like an opener around 210, fail, like hit a wall really, on 507, whether it's due to tech or strength or both, doesn't matter, hit a wall, and then successfully get 491, it's a great sign. Even if I walked away from today with just 491, that would be a great sign. But the fact that we did all of that, we're in a great spot. Look, do I want to be benching 523? Yes. Do I believe I have the potential and the ability to do that before 2025 is over? Absolutely. It's just going to be a matter of continuing to tweak certain things, really focus on our strength phases. I've got plenty of muscle mass to do it, especially comparative to a lot of these lifters who can bench well over 500 pounds with less muscle mass. Granted, they may have bigger arches, different levers obviously, but if they can do it, so can I. So that's my mindset. So I'm really happy with the day. For the week, we've ended with a 910 total, which is already a massive training total PR in terms of like hitting it all in 1 week. And more or less everything being relatively to standard. That said, obviously some things I'm not super happy with, like potentially not having a long enough pause today. Obviously from the side angle from yesterday's squats, looks like we hit depth. From the front angle, I purposefully film with a pretty shitty front angle so that if there's any doubt, we know like, nope, just gotta go deeper. But front angle does look like we're right there. And historically, that would mean 2 to 1. Or simply bad call, you know, reds. Not bad call, but bad lift, you know what I mean? All reds. So it's good to know, but we'll talk about squats in a second. So all in all, 910 training total. Going into NAPFs, we had a 900 training total. And exertion-wise, we were around the same, if not worse, in terms of how difficult it was for us to hit that 900 total, training total. And that was in the last block leading into NAPFs. Like I hit that on the week 3 before the meet, you know? So that's huge. Like we are ahead of schedule. We're peaking nicely. My body's adapting well. We've got one more block. And I truly do believe that we will find ourselves in a very, very strong position. And we will have a 10 times body weight total minimum. Now, that said, whether or not we hit 10 times body weight, whether or not we even hit 900, doesn't matter. I've made up my mind to be relatively realistic, but aiming high, and we're loading whatever is required to dominate, period. In my head, in order to dominate at nationals, we will need around 937.5. So that's what I'm prepared to do. And that's it. Now, based on how the meet goes, we'll make adjustments to those selections. But that's mentally where I am. 940 basically. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So, yeah. Now in terms of squat, so I'll decide whether or not I'm gonna show the squat. But yeah, the front angle, like I said, looks like parallel. And then side angle looks like it's depth. But the cool thing about squats is the speed of the squat slowed down because of a slight misgroove. I had set up my left foot was a little wonky. It was like a little off. So I was kind of like a little diagonal, and I shifted onto that leg a little bit as I was coming up, and that's what caused the slowdown. So it was just my body trying to maintain its balance. So really wasn't a strength thing. That's number one. Number two, that is the first time, okay, let's put it this way. Second time I've ever squatted more than 750 in training, ever. So that's huge, you know? That's great. To do that a whole block out is super, super important. Now, even more so, the 716 I took the week prior in a week 3 was higher, uglier, and harder than 755 from the other day. So that's huge. That's huge, guys. Going into NAPFs, I had taken 750 week 3, week 4 was the meet. So 1 week out, I had taken 750. I just took 755, a whole block out. So and that again, heaviest squat single I've ever taken in a prep, like a real prep. Heaviest squat I've ever hit was 760, and that was after nationals. I definitely was heavy, definitely heavier than I am now, and you know, didn't count for anything. We weren't in a prep. So this is big. So again, I'm pretty confident. Glory to God that, you know, we were able to tie up our second to last block with a 910 total, and I think that's awesome. I think that's great, because what's really cool is, you know, a year or two ago, that would have completely obliterated Sheffield. You know what I mean? So the fact that we're relatively casually hitting that in training, just a year later, 2 years later even, I guess, if you want to stretch it, Like that's huge, you know? So that's great. Yeah. So training, I think if we play our cards right going into nationals, we'll be able to build tons of momentum going in, and we're in a great spot. Obviously, all my competitors, super strong. Petrie and Keiko both look like they're capable of 925, 930 plus. So, like I said, I'm fully prepared to just simply load whatever is necessary. And have that kind of do or do not mentality, and have to be mindful of calm, be in control, inject the peace, because too much of the aggression will throw things off, will create an imbalance, and will fuck with the equilibrium, you know? So we can't do that. We gotta stay centered, and that's really important. And so that's why I'm really happy that I took the 507 today, even though we hit that wall, because like I was talking about earlier, that tech fuck up was a symptom. It's not the disease. The disease was fear. And so it's better to see that now and witness that now and acknowledge it now so I can fix it over the next 4 weeks than hope on game day I can get it together and tackle it then. 507, that was the first time I was ever attempting that. I've never had that in my hands before. So yeah, and the last time I had taken 501 or touched 500 pounds, I've only touched it once in my life, was at least a year ago now, I think. So, you know, like kind of to be expected a little bit, you know? So I'm not really that concerned about it. And I trust that everything will come together, you know? And even if it doesn't, we'll adapt, we'll find a way or make one. And it's that simple. An absolute worst case scenario, we have the worst meet of our life. And now we have a new opportunity to come back even stronger and even better. I mean, I've seen my development as a lifter. I've had 0 breaks. Like some of these other lifters are taking time off, you know, like really giving themselves, fine, that's cool. I've had 0 breaks. I just go from the start of my career. So because of that, it's just been iron sharpening iron over and over and over. So at some point, I will become so sharp and so lethal, even just looking at the blade will cut you. And that's what inspires me to continue to push and grind regardless of the outcome, because I see how deadly I'm becoming as an athlete already. You know, I'm only on like year 5. And some of these guys that you see there at the top, at One Worlds, whatever, they're 10 years in, 8 years in, 12 years in. Bro, that's twice as long as I've had in the game. Where do you think I'm gonna be in 1 year, let alone 5? So, you know, I definitely am confident, but at the same time I understand the danger and the threat, and that it will be a battle for sure. That's how it should be. It's a national championship. So all these guys are gonna be strong. All these guys work hard. All these guys are talented. And yeah, I think it's gonna come down to who can keep the peace within themselves, but simply who wants it more. And there's a lot more depth now too, which is crazy. Petrie, Jamar, Keiko, Jack Reynolds. This other guy who I saw was coached by Steve Denovi. I regretfully do not remember his name or his Instagram handle. Might be Dom or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, super strong guy. Just hold 890 pretty easily. You know, so. But that's what you want. That's how you're gonna get better. So I'm grateful for that. And grateful for these longer sessions, these tough sessions. I mean, we were there for a while. But that's what it takes, you know? It's a small price to pay to be great. And if somebody said, you know, you're gonna go down in history as the greatest athlete to ever do it, the one who has the most glory because you've had the most falls and you've had to rise up every single time. But it's gonna cost you 5 hours on Saturday. Okay, every time, you know? So, yeah, grateful I get to do this, and I get to push myself. Grateful for the highs and the lows, and I'm grateful that ultimately I'm with him and it's for him. And you know, I was praying the other day, and things have been really tough recently. There's lots going on, stress and all this stuff going on. And I was talking to God about nationals, and I said, Lord, you know, I pray that you're with me, but I also pray that, you know, the best man win. And I know that, you know, a national championship, that doesn't mean anything to you, to him, you know, it's what is that? Things are so much bigger for him. But I said, you know, this means a lot to me, and I've suffered long enough, I've fallen short long enough. I'm going to win this, or die trying. Like, I'm going to load whatever is necessary to win, period. And I said to the Lord, I don't know if you pick anyone, or if you choose to be with anyone in particular, if you choose to be with only one, I don't know. But Lord, whatever your decision, I respect you, and I respect it. I have to, and I want to, because I do believe that whatever that choice is, whatever has been planned, so to speak, is for the better, is for the best. And that for each and every one of us, he loves us so much and so unconditionally that no matter the outcome, he can turn it into something great for us. But at the same time, I said, whether you're with me or you've chosen someone else, whatever, I am going to fight. Blood, sweat, tears, tooth and nail, all of it. I need this. I truly believe these other guys haven't suffered like I've suffered. I truly believe these guys haven't had to deal with what I've dealt with. I truly believe I have gone through it all to get here, over and over and over again. And I'm sure I have so much more to go, so much more to endure. But I'm at the point now, something's got to give. I've been working too hard for too long. I care too much. So this is it. I am coming to receive, to take what is owed. And I don't mean to sound like super motivational and cringy. That's truly how I feel. I truly feel like fruit has been robbed from me. I will never forget the first Sheffield. Hit the world record. Takes them like fucking 5 minutes to overturn it. Other lifters lifting as they overturn it. And my mom afterwards tells me my dad shed a tear when he saw that happen. My dad's not an emotional guy. He's not. I don't think I've ever seen him cry, ever. Not even when his mom died. My grandmother. So, to hear that was so emotional for him, that he was so proud in that moment. And then they took that from me. They took that moment from me. And in my opinion, it was unjust. Now, I roll with it. When did I ever talk shit? When did I ever point fingers and blame other people? I was pissed, 100%. But at the end of the day, I took that on me. I didn't bash anyone. Yeah, maybe I called some shit out. But I did not go off the rails and start pointing fingers and say it was because of you and you and you and you and you and you and you. No. I had to eat that. And that's exactly what I've had to do every fucking time. And don't get me wrong, there are some times when it truly, truly was completely my fault. But there are a lot of times when it's a shared responsibility, things that were outside of my control. Life is unfair. But when you deal with that enough, you start to get a little bit of an edge to you. And that's why, like, the Bible talks about turn his heart of stone back into, a softened spirit, because the world is unfair, life is unfair, and over time you will have a hardened heart as a result of it. And that's not okay. You need to be able to love people through all of that, because otherwise it just weighs you down. The resentment, the anger, it just weighs you down. It only holds you back. And so I try my best to recognize that. But I can tell you right now, man, I am at a point where I have given so much and received so little, the way I see it, the way I feel, given how much I've put into it. What I have as a reward, it's been nothing. I'm tired. In fact, I'm tired of being tired. I'm exhausted from doing that, from giving so much, getting nothing. What feels like that, and sometimes even feeling like I'm getting spit in my face because people misinterpret me, misunderstand me. It drives me nuts. Now, I understand it's the way of life. You have to move forward regardless. And at the end of the day, you do need thick skin. But right now, I'm at a point where I have given too much, I've suffered too much, I've fallen short too many times. I've been stolen from too many times, disrespected too many times for me to just let this opportunity go. If you want it, take it. And that's exactly what I intend to do. I understand. Things be as they may. Who knows what the outcome is going to be, but I am in control of my effort, and I will give 110% to finally, truly becoming an open world champion this year. I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video.